looking forward to a great productive session talking about how to build wealth with VA financing and just working through all the different angles. We've got folks on this panel that have various backgrounds, ties to the military, experience levels with helping our fellow military members, and just different angles on how they do it. So before we start getting into questions, I would like to open it up to the members of our panel. And if you could give a 30 to 60-second introduction of who you are, your background, military tie, and where you're from. I'll start with Dave first.
Hey, what's up, brother? Thanks for having me on. Yeah, so I guess the short intro, joined the Marine Corps in 2008, spent 13 years active duty, currently wrapping up some time in the reserves. In case you can't tell, I enjoyed growing out the veteran beard. And in the last, 5.5 years on active duty, I went from, having like a negative net worth to 100 plus rental units, a hotel, a couple small apartments, some syndication deals, financially free, and currently paying more in payroll than I was earning in the military. So, doing all right. I have my real estate agent license, just passed my NMLS test as well, but I don't actively work with clients so much as just helping a community connect with other real professionals and just helping vets learn more about how to use the VA loan for building wealth.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, brother. I know we've done a decent amount of work together, and looking forward to you sharing your experience. So, Frank, I'll toss it to you next.
All right, thank you, David. So, hello, everyone. My name is Frank Carrico. I am a real estate broker here in San Diego, California, as well as a certified agent with the Active Duty Passive Income Group. So in addition to being active in real estate over 10 years, I'm still a reserve status Army warrant officer. I've been reserve status for more than 17 years now. In the military, more than 17 years. I've got deployments to Iraq, Afghanistan, the Balkans, several years here on the southwest border doing counter-narcotics work. I always kind of thought I was going to join the reserve component and do the weekend a month. My first weekend was probably almost 2.5 years into service after coming back from Iraq and a lot of additional deployments. So I've quickly realized that weekend a month is not a weekend a month. I'm really excited to be on the call today. Thank you for the invite, David and everyone. I'm going to be sharing later on some fundamental investment concepts that I used, fortunately, as a result of my GI Bill, where I earned a Master's of Science in the real estate from University of San Diego. And I would say that has significantly shaped how I underwrite my own real estate investment opportunities and my clients, many of which, when they come to use their VA loan, start to understand how to leverage that to build wealth through investment principles. So thank you, David.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank. Appreciate you. Kayla, you're up next.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kayla Heltzel. I am an Army spouse. My husband has been in the Army, soon to retire, a number of years, multiple deployments. The last couple of years, we have been separated. He's been a geo bachelor. So we took this time during his Army career to really build and start with the basic, build a portfolio. Basically, every duty station, every PCS that he's been, we've purchased properties. And the end game was to build a portfolio so that when he does retire, we have income, residual income. And that's really what I wanted to present today and talk about to the folks on the panel and on the call today, is just using our strategies and how to utilize PCSing in different duty stations in different areas to build your portfolio throughout the country.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Clay, last but not least, brother.
Hey, how's everyone doing? I'm Clay Ellis. I'm a team lead, real estate broker, associate, been in the business 16 years in Del Rio, Texas, on Laughlin Air Force Base. We are a training base here in Del Rio, and I have a team of 15 and now 16 starting today. I employ military spouses. I have some agents on my team that are veterans. And so just wanted to impart some of my knowledge of dealing with students fresh out of getting their wings from the Air Force and how we educate them using their VA loan at 23, 24 years old at every station they go to. So super excited to share what we do for our airmen and women and how we educate them as they're just starting their Air Force career as pilots or people here at Laughlin Air Force Base. So super excited to be part of this group, and thanks, David, for the intro.
Yeah, awesome, man. All right, well, I'll open up the first question then. Given the strengths and the skill set, background, et cetera, I'd like to hear from both Kayla and Clay on how you go and educate those younger military folks within this real estate market, especially as it's been scary the last few years and very fast paced. And now with the interest rate increases, how you're helping to educate them to pull them out of, what we see often, at least in our area in LA, that classic mindset of I need to stay within BAH, I'm going to rent, buying doesn't make sense, all the fallacies that are out there. VA loans can't get accepted, all the things people are told, right? The fear stuff that goes on. Just some experience of what you share with them and how you've overcome that, and maybe a success story along that route. So Kayla?
Sure. So actually I have a couple of different approaches. I also teach real estate pre-licensing classes. So in my classes, I really start with the basics and getting military personnel who are either just doing their 4 years, just getting their feet wet, or folks who are looking to create residual income after retirement. So that way, going in and not only providing them with the education as an agent perspective, but as a buyer. And through these classes, I'm explaining to them, these are creative ways to create a stronger offer, creative ways to utilize your VA funding, because I feel like whether they're in my classes or my buyers, the basic information of VA funding and how to utilize it is not there. So in the beginning, it's education, hands down. A lot of veterans don't realize that you don't have to purchase just a single family. You could purchase 1, 2, 3, up to 4 units. So enabling and educate them, what does that look like? How do you have these conversations? And then in our market in LA, it's interesting because we are seeing that higher interest rates and we are seeing that competitiveness. But in Oklahoma, we're just now getting to where the market is priced well over the list price and the competitiveness. So it's interesting to see how in the different states and different parts of the country, real estate industry are two separate things. In California, it's a little bit more competitive. Interest rates are higher. But I've seen the opportunity for VA, my buyers, to have more skin in the game now that the interest rates are higher, because with the interest rates being higher, I feel like the level of competitiveness, like the cash buyers are out. So that enables them to come up higher in competition. I really haven't seen an issue really I'm in northern LA County. So like Kern, Palmdale, AV. I haven't really seen where that's an issue. I've seen where a lot of people, because they're familiar and they're surrounded with military, the base, so they're familiar with VA. So I haven't really seen that it's been an issue for me, at least.
That's good to hear, because I know where we're at. We're in a different part of LA County for most of our clients, right near LA Air Force Base, and we're in the PCS Pay Forward ambassadorship with you and supporting folks that way. And so I mean, obviously we start from education first as well, but in LA County where we're at, it's a lot more competitive. Everyone, for whatever reason, obviously wants to be near the ocean. A lot of investment money still coming in here. A lot of cash buyers still coming in. So it does become difficult. And I know in our area, like we spend a lot of time not just educating our clients on how to use the VA loan. We spend a lot of time educating fellow agents on what the VA loan is, because there's no real education out there for those agents, right? And so when we write multifamily offers, for example, the most common response I get on a multifamily offer is, well, you can't do that with a VA loan.
Yeah.
You can't buy 4 units, or you can't buy at $2 million, right?
Yeah.
VA loan doesn't let you go that high. And I'm like, sure.
Yeah,
let's flash back in time to 2020. And even before that, you could, but you had to come up with down payment, right? Now you can do it without a down payment. So, I think that education is critical, whether you're doing it from the client side or the agent side, right? To make sure that we're properly representing our clients in their best interest them into a home. So appreciate that. Clay, how's your, can you give some background on your side as well? How's it different perhaps, or, what have you been doing? You've been doing this for quite a while there at Del Rio and educating folks. So, what's your main focus on that?
Yeah, so what we do is we usually get a lot of people early on in their Air Force career. So through our Chamber of Commerce, they do these welcomes every month. And so we try and put ourselves in front of them and say, hey, we're not here to sell you a house. We're here to guide you as you go through this. Are you going to rent? Are you going to buy? Like, we're here in the community to help you. And so we try and grab them and just start that early conversation of, hey, we're your education source. And that leads into a lot of conversations. And I think piggybacking off of the previous panel, I think it's great to have, like in our pocket, we've got 2 or 3 good lenders that understand our local Del Rio market, that can talk about price points over 15 years, what rent has looked like over that time span. And because we're a border town in Texas, we're heavily government funded. So we have a very strong rental rate. And so what I like to show that first time buyer using their first VA loan is, here's what you're going to get at $225,000. Here's what if you had to rent, and here's what your monthly payment would be. This is your rent rate. And then I send them 10 listings that are rentals and go, this is what you have to pick from rentals. And they go, oh gosh, I think I'll buy, because they get more bang for their buck using their VA loan, no money out of pocket. There's so many advantages to do. So we like to educate them early. And then I like to parlay that into, hey, you're going to PCS in 2 to 3 years for your next assignment. You've only used 200 grand of your eligibility, use it again, save up some money for your next purchase in this next 3 years, and use that again for your second home, and try and just keep doing that in each station. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And I would say, the conversations that you have, I think, are definitely, and Kayla, that you have as well, are definitely different than what we have at our price point.
Yeah.
Our average price point last year, I think, for our properties was $900K.
Yeah.
Right? So no one, like, BAH in LA is not sufficient for what people need to buy, let alone rent.
Yeah.
Nor is it intended to be anymore, right? If you look at the DoD guidelines, like BAH, I think, is now supposed to cover 95%. It's reducing little by little over the next several years. And rent's gone up significantly, and yet there's no significant uptick in BAH. When the DoD did it last year, where they did like the emergency BAH for 3 months that they then quit, right? LA County wasn't even included. Like, we're one of the highest cost markets in America, and we weren't even included in that, right? So people were left out to dry on that one. But I think the conversations are definitely different. We have conversations with our folks here. Obviously, they're using essentially their entire VA entitlement here, right? Because there's very few places you're going to go to after LA that are more expensive, where the county is willing to hire for that secondary entitlement, calculation. What we coach our folks on, right, is, you're not buying your dream home here.
Right.
You're buying a property so that you have control over where you're living. You can do what you want to in the house. You can't have a landlord tell you no because you have dogs, so that you can build wealth and buy maybe your dream home at the next duty location.
Yep.
Maybe it's Del Rio, maybe it's right Pat, right, where homes are 200, 300, 400K.
Right.
And you make enough profit here to buy that house with cash, right? But it is definitely a mindset thing, and people come in, unfortunately, with, again, I have to stay below BAH, and I think that just goes back to what's already been discussed. The military doesn't really talk about VA financing. In our industry, we don't really talk about it. There's, outside of like David's group with Military to Millionaire and PCS Pay It Forward and ADPI that Frank and I are both part of, those types of groups that are heavy on education. But if you look at those, we've got, I think,